KF&JF podcast on the move again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate all you guys' subscribers and everything that you guys do to support us. Today, we are here nested in
Corona at BOBCAT Properties Farm. My name's Lonnie, the co-owner with my sisters of this little honey ranch and avocado ranch in Corona, California.
Man, and we're getting ready to check it out, guys. I want you guys to just pay attention to everything that he has to say, because he's the guy that's up here making it work for you, giving you this good product, making sure that you guys are satisfied out there and excited. So we look forward to it. Stay tuned. So how do you spend some of your days when you're just up here without working?
Yep, like this morning I was weed whipping, tractoring, picking avocados. I picked some for next week. I pick a week in advance.
Oh, okay.
So what I picked last week I'll put on the shelves tomorrow. And then they're either ripe or 3 or 4 days out.
Okay, because I wondered about that, because some of them, you go in the store or someplace, they're so hard.
Store is a joke because they gas them. Most stores gas them.
What does that mean?
Well, they bring them in from cold storage from foreign countries, Mexico, wherever they've been in cold storage. And then they gas them with the same gas that naturally comes off a banana, and it helps ripen them.
Oh, okay.
But it literally, no matter what you do, it's going to rotten it.
Yeah,
it just ripens to rotten.
Right, because it goes so quick.
Quick.
Yeah,
2 to 3 days and it's done.
It's done, yeah.
Where ours, if you had it, you buy some of ours and they're ready to eat now, put them in the refrigerator, they're good for a couple weeks.
Oh, wow. So
where a store-bought, if it's been gassed, no matter what you do, it's going to rotten.
Yeah, because I've been noticing that. I was like, why does avocados just turn brown all of a sudden? Yeah, and I just bought it. I just cut it, right? And immediately it just becomes no good. It's just... It's beautiful. So you can show us around or let us
awesome.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, my sister, the oldest sister, is a partner, and my youngest sister. There's 7 of us.
Oh, okay.
So the 3 of us and our spouses bought the ranch in '03, and I planted some avocado trees in my uncle's memory, just because of his grafting, and then they started to produce, and we thought, well, you know what, we need something to help pay the taxes.
Well, yeah.
And the water lines and fixing things, and it's a ranch is a money pit.
Yeah. Well, do you get help? Do you solicit help?
No, we kind of just try and handle it ourselves, and mainly that's because of the liability nowadays.
Right.
It's
one of those things where it was taking money like everything else.
Well, you know what? A little bit about different types of corn syrups and a lot of honey comes from trees.
I want to just stay there because it's like, Yeah,
sit up
just
out
sit
here,
there,
you fall
man,
asleep real
have
quick.
you a nice hot cup of coffee
Yep,
or something
yep.
there, you know, and just
What's crazy is to see how nature works. We'll get the Santa Ana winds come in and it'll be all foggy, and the Santa Ana winds will blow towards the ocean and just blow it out, or it'll turn around and you'll see it at night. It just comes back in.
wow. Yeah, it's so much that you, and you're, you know, mentally, I think when I see this is that, you know, the world's down there, you know, just hustle and bustle. Tell me a little bit about where you keep this honey at and how do you process it?
Okay, sure do. Well, we keep them in our little honey room. We have a little storage area.
You've got jars forever. I mean, that's an expense right there, isn't
It
it?
is. It is. It's like during COVID, we weren't able to get jars.
Mhm.
So thank goodness I had 100 cases set aside before COVID even started.
Do you import those or you just buy them regular? Or?
Ace Hardware Store. Here local,
Ace.
yeah,
My
they're
grandfather
they
loved
actually.
Ace.
Oh my gosh! Well, they carry our honey.
Yeah.
Here in Dos Lagos.
Oh, okay. That's
So
great.
we buy our jars from them or Walmart. They're the best prices we've been able to find.
Right.
But during COVID, the prices went just crazy.
Yeah,
Everything went up. People were starting to can, where normally people don't do a lot of canning anymore. But we try and keep a good supply.
I've always wanted to, you know, I tried putting beer in one of those and it all exploded in my.
Oh yeah. Too
I was
much.
learning, you know, but my grandmother did a lot of figs,
Yes.
and that was just such a great thing, man. For years and years, I'd go back and back. It was just all figs in there,
Yeah.
and I would put the wax.
Yes. Yes,
Did
that
you
was
do it that-
before. No, I don't do any of the wax, but that's old school. Before the canning jars,
Right.
you used sealing wax.
Right.
And absolutely, and figs we have a couple fig trees on the ranch.
Really?
Figs are super nutritious.
Wow.
Absolutely
Wow.
nutritious for you.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a
Excellent.
look at where you
Inside
got.
here, we'll go into this room here.
Wow. Look at this. Woo. Nice and warm.
Very warm, little operation. Got our 2 extractors.
Extractors is what's that purpose?
That's like a centrifuge. You spin the cone, and then the honey comes out of the cone.
So you got to set all the cones in.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
First you decap it. On a normal day of extraction, this would be full of boxes, and we will pull the boxes out, pull the honeycomb frame out, and then also use the old school way of decapping. We don't use the current way, which is usually heated knives, because the heated knife is so hot it cooks the honey, and to me it contaminates it.
Right, gives it a different.
Gives it an off taste flavor.
It's already like pre-cooked. So is it? How do you know how much is on there? It just comes off.
Yeah, because they'll draw it up to the top. But normally they would draw the comb up to flat,
Wow.
and then the knife would go from here to the other side, and you just cut across and decap it.
So that's reusable.
Oh yeah, this will go right back in the hive, and within a week to 2 weeks they'll refill it. As long as there's good production out in the field.
Okay.
Good pollen and nectar. But we take them and we decap it, just break the top a little bit, all the way down, and then you'll put it into the extractor. Spin it, start it, and like our grandson said years ago, it goes around and around through the hole and in a bucket. That simple, the more simple, the better the taste is. First place winners at one of the fairs was done all by hand. We took a comb, honeycomb, and just broke it out and then let it drain by hand. We didn't spin it.
Wow.
And this is probably 7 to 10 years old.
Wow.
And it's just perfect honey.
Look at the color of it, nice and light
Yeah,
too. Is
super
that,
light. Here's another one. This was another winner, sage blossom, and that's probably 6-7 years old.
Wow.
And honey never spoils,
Yeah,
so
oh,
if
really?
you taste
Okay.
it now, it'll taste the same as it did when we won first place.
That is beautiful. Talk a little bit about this one. Is this the same? but
Yeah,
just
this is just a more automated. We were really blessed. I did have a 4-frame. These are called frames.
Oh, okay.
I had a 4-frame that was hand cranked, and so you would have to crank it and then flip it and then crank it for 20 minutes, which was a workout.
Yeah.
So I told my wife that we need to get a little more automated, and the next day at the swap meet, the farmer's market. A guy came up, said he had an extractor for sale.
Really?
And I said, does it have a yellow label? And he said, sure does, which is Dayton. They've been around since the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, you know, we negotiated and he brought it down. And so this was a 1980 model. So believe it or not, it's 45 years old. And it was tremendous. It'll hold 12 frames and I don't have to crank it.
Oh my goodness.
So I turn it on as we're decapping and we just stage it in our stainless steel buckets up here and trays. So then we decided to go with a, I think this is a 36 frame. A little more modern, a little more automated, digital.
How many you get? How many frame, or how many trays? What's the proper name for the?
Yeah, it's a frame.
How many frames do you get out of a harvest that you?
It depends. It totally depends. This year we're hardly going to get any sage at all because we didn't get enough rain.
Okay.
But other times it can be hundreds.
Really?
And each box carries 9 to 10. It's a
Okay.
10 frame box, but if you put 9 in and space them, they
get more
draw
bees
it
in.
out. More bees and they draw out and you get more honey.
Oh,
so you get
okay,
more
okay.
honey out of 9 than you would out of 10.
Okay.
So, and a bee only produces one, I think it's 1/12 of an ounce in its lifetime. So it takes hundreds of
So they
thousands
die
of
after,
bees.
so-
Yeah,
so-
6 weeks.
Really?
All worker bees are girl bees, so they'll work 6 weeks to 8 weeks in the winter, and then they're gone. Their life cycle is short. The queen can live 3 to 6 years maximum.
Really?
Yeah, the queen, and she lives on a whole nother diet compared to the other bees.
Right.
And which
They're bringing her the best.
the best, and it's actually called royal jelly. For the queen.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she will eat that her whole life. The other bees get it for 2 days when the larva hatches, and then after that they're fed pollen bread. And
Is there a way that you attract the bees besides the regular trees and the pollen and stuff like that? Is there another mist in the air or anything else that you can do to attract?
there are pheromones that you can put out to attract them, but usually if I have a box, if I leave it out, they'll find it.
Okay.
Because it's just like when they go to your house and find your electrical box or your wall. They want the dark area that's concealed and safe.
Right.
Because the guard bees want to be on the landing board or near the entrance and protect anyone coming and going.
I do remember having them in the garage.
Oh, yeah.
And they was in the corner over there, and I looked up. Whoa!
Yep.
So a whole nest of them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
built on the outside. They built their own, honeycomb, and they're up in there and chasing me around. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
god!
yeah. Yeah, they protect. And when they swarm, people are afraid when they're swarming. Well, they're colonists. They've gorged on honey. They're moving their home. So they are calm. They sound like a freight train going over you, but they're just wanting to protect the queen. She'll go to the center. They'll cover her, that little swarm on the wall or trees or wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And then they'll send scout bees out to find a better home.
Wow.
They don't want to be exposed.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about your experience with, killer bees or any of those type of bees that have ran across your.
Yeah, that's luckily we don't have per se the killer bees here like when they came in from Brazil, but we do have some aggressive bees like down in the barn, super aggressive. And if the queen mates with an Africanized or very aggressive male, then her offspring will be aggressive. And she'll mate with multiple partners. So that way the hive is not just one strain. I don't know the
So
scientific
you have a
way.
multi-strain
Yes.
mixture when you
in the hive.
and that gives
Absolutely.
you a different type of honey. How do you decipher that? How do
Well, it'll give a different hive temperament.
Okay.
So you just don't want one strain in there. You want multiples. But if one of those is aggressive or Africanized, then those larvae are going to be Africanized, and the whole clan will be Africanized.
And the
Or
honey will
aggressive.
taste different, sweeter. Nothing happens there.
No, what they do say is the African bees are more aggressive. They work harder, but they're harder to work around.
Okay.
Like when I first did my first bees with a friend of mine who's a beekeeper for 50, 60 years, I had my suit on. He didn't have anything on. The bees didn't bother him. They were all over me because they could smell my pheromones, my fear.
Right.
Yeah, when you're afraid, they smell it.
Well, that's why I keep beating myself up every
my
time
gosh,
I get in front of them. What does the suit look like? Do you have?
Yeah, I do.
All right. right, talk a little bit about that suit. I am. Whew.
Here's my suit. It's a heavy duty one. It's very thick, which actually lets it breathe. You'll see it's very corrugated. I have
Yeah. I see
my
that.
original one is just like your like your shirt
So
material.
that stinger can't get through there.
It tries, but one of the murder hornets, absolutely. One of the big ones that have a stinger that long. But if you hold your skin against it super flush, and you might feel a little bit, but not much.
Oh, okay.
Not much at all.
So you wear something under this as well.
Just usually a Levi's or something. Yeah, this is normally a plenty.
Oh,
Then you're going to have gloves
okay.
also, and I have the hat. The hat's in the other room.
Okay.
That, of course, you always want to protect your eyes. But yeah, this is a suit that'll.
So have you been stung before multiple times?
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause I was stung by a honeybee in Louisiana. It knocked me out. It stung me right on my nose, and
Yep.
I was out for a day or so.
They're nasty.
Really?
A bee will smell the carbon monoxide from your breath, and they're going to go for your face and your eyes. Just like, that's the way to take someone out is take their eyes away.
Right,
But yeah, I've been stung in the lip, in the nose, in the ear, and above the eyes. Yeah,
So
in
what
the
do you
face.
do? You just rub that stinger out?
Well, I will take it.
Not the leather like Grandpa used to tell
No.
us.
You want to get that stinger out because it's pulsating the toxins into you. So you get the stinger out. Don't grab it and squeeze it, or you're putting all the toxins in. Move it outside, and then if I'm in here and I get stung, I just put a little honey on it.
Oh.
Or we make a skincare products out of our beeswax.
Okay.
And you put that on, and the itch goes away, and it heals. But you're going to get some swelling because it is a.
Yeah. So the stinger is actually, when you say pulsating, what does that mean?
Well, on the end of the bee, in the abdomen, it's the sac that holds the venom, and it squeezes, so it's injecting. So not only do you get poked, but then it pulsates and puts the venom in. So you want to get that off. That way it stops. The quicker the better.
Yeah.
Because once you get it out, if it's only a little bit, then it won't bother you too much. But if you grab it and squeeze it, then it just makes a mess.
That's probably what was happening when it stuck me in my nose. I left it. I didn't know I could.
Yeah.
I got dizzy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Well, around the face and the head, that's a serious sting. And in the neck too, because that all functions up into your brain and your.
People have been killed with a bee sting.
Yeah. The buckwheat and the sage, and then bees will. Certain times, the beekeeper we work with will send them to the Dakotas, North Dakota, and they'll make a clover honey. But our mainstay is our sage, buckwheat, and orange from this local area.
How many jars you process with in this type of out of a bucket? I guess that would be.
A bucket, it varies depending on our size, because we can go a 3-pound jar. There's 50 pounds of honey in here.
Oh, okay.
And honey's heavier than water.
Okay.
Water is like 8.5 pounds per gallon. Honey's 12 pounds a gallon. So there's 50 pounds here. So we can get 50 of our 1-pound containers approximately.
Okay.
And it varies season to season, depending on how much honey the bees make.
No dilution or anything like that?
No, that's as a certified farmer, we can add nothing to the honey.
Okay.
And that's a key point because people do put corn syrup in it and they put water in it to stretch it. And that's deceitful.
Well, I see that you have some other stuff do you put like fruits in there, or any type of other flavors in your honeys?
Because we're a certified farmer. That's a whole nother business. But believe me, you can. You absolutely can take a jar of honey, and if you like clover, if you like garlic, if you like whatever, you drop that in, and that's one of the benefits that honey does to your body. It goes into your system and it desiccates. Same thing it does to the clove or the garlic piece. It draws the moisture out of it. So it goes to your joints, draws the inflammation away. It's good for arthritis. A lot of people have knee replacements or ankle replacements. The doctor, if he's really up on it, he'll recommend raw honey because that helps you draw those moistures and inflammation out of your body.
That is such a well-educated thing.
Oh, it's antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial. Sage in Latin is the healing plant. So for cough medicine during COVID, we sold cases of this for people for the COVID cough.
People use it for coffee too. So talk a little bit about what's your plan going forward. Is it branching out into more stores? Is it something that you're looking to not only for the honey business, but for your avocado business and the other parts of the business? What else would you be looking to do?
It isn't. We just, like I say,
Ace Hardware store picked us up for one of the stores here in Corona. We've filled like 7 orders with them. It's been phenomenal, but we don't want to go too big. It just, if we don't have the honey, then we have disappointing customers, and especially big customers. If like a Walmart wanted to use our honey, you couldn't supply them.
Right, but they definitely wanted it. You know, you have to have a mass.
You have to have a mass amount, and that sometimes gets stores in trouble because then the buyer goes wherever he can to get the honey, and it's not good honey. I think there's over 4,000 Ace Hardware stores.
Yeah.
Now they're independent,
Right.
but I can imagine one is keeping us busy.
Well, yeah, just you don't need to have like thousands of jars in it.
No.
Just keep replenishing them and not, unless they're selling and you got your
Yeah,
space and you
yeah.
you know?
It's this is helping us, like you saw the road work we're doing.
Right.
That's all funded by honey sales over the years. So we have to have something to keep the ranch going, or the taxes and the upkeep, we would have to sell it. And I don't want to do that.
No. What you got is a lifetime.
This is special. We're hoping the grandkids, we have 5 and 1 on the way any day now with our daughter. We're hoping that they'll want to step in on it too and help.
Great. Talk a little bit about, I know we didn't mention this, but a life lesson about this. Something you've learned as a life lesson regarding this whole farming thing,
Wow, I'd have to think on that because to me it would be just put in hard work with nature, and it benefits you. I can sit on the couch and drink sodas and just veg out, or I can be in the grove picking avocados and walking the ranch, or pulling weeds with my wife, or driving the tractor. To be out with nature to me is super important. Very, very important.
Great. I think that's is so much of a guy that knows the little history about family, and all those things are important. And one of my other questions would be, in the life lesson, you mentioned the grandkids, you mentioned your daughter, not so much the life lesson, but legacy.
Legacy? Well, I'm hoping that what we started will continue somehow to benefit the people in Corona and in Southern California. We've shipped our honey all over the United States, and it's even gone to foreign countries. Our son's studying in Italy. When he comes and visits, or if we visit him, we take it and hand it out to people. It's been to Canada. The Canadians loved our honey. So to me, it's just for people to realize that there's products that can come off the earth that are natural, real, not synthetic. We, as a kid, I remember them joking that you are what you eat.
Right.
Well, it absolutely true. And
true.
if you're eating synthetics or synthesized sugars, it's just scary what it can do.
For a diabetic, is this something that they can use as well?
Yeah, we aren't doctors, and I don't pretend to be, but we have customers that will take our sage, unbeknownst to us. They've eaten one of these in a week, and then monitored their blood sugars, and no issues.
Yeah.
So the sage is low in glucose, low glycemic. The orange is higher, and the buckwheat's a little bit higher too. And usually you can tell how much is in it just by how quickly it crystallizes. So this is probably
sugar is in it.
Yeah, natural sugars.
Yeah.
But it still crystallizes.
So how do you know what's a buckwheat, what's a sage? Is that just processing, or that's all from the different types
different
of
flowers? The bloom normally on a normal season, orange will bloom first with the avocados. Then they stop. Then sage blooms, and you watch the bees and you watch the flowers. When the bees stop going to the flowers and transition to the buckwheat, late in June, July, August, then you'll see it as you pull the honeycomb. You can see it and smell it.
Okay.
Buckwheat's very strong odor, very medicinal and tasting even, and the sage is super mild. Doesn't taste like sage. It's our first place winner at the fair. Buckwheat was our second place.
Great. Out of this one?
Yeah, this is honeycomb. So you have to be careful about taking the honeycomb from the bees. The bees, to make this honeycomb, they eat pounds and pounds of honey. So why have the bees do their life thing to take honeycomb just to sell it? To me, that's not, it just defeats the purpose. I want the honey, and that's fine. We take the excess honey. So what happens when I open the box up,
There's drawn comb on top of the box underneath. If I just push it back on, I'm going to squish the bees. So I'll scrape that off, save it, put a little honey with it, and then people use this as a gum and chew it.
But it's because okay, so it's the comb,
Honeycomb with honey in it.
So you could digest the comb.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
really
so-
you can. I wouldn't eat a bunch of it. It's like
Yeah.
eating gum. You're
Okay,
gonna
okay,
eliminate it,
okay.
but you chew it. Most
And get
people
all
spit it
the
out.
sweetness-
Just
yeah.
keep chewing.
Oh, okay.
Get the nutrients out of the wax.
Okay.
There's a lot of nutrients in
I'm
wax.
sure. Great.
Yep. And here you can see different colors of honey. It just all depends on what the bees have been feeding on, the nectar, the pollen, and how much water supply, and the honey just changes colors. So with us, you can have 2 or 3 honeys together and be different colors even though they're from the same plant.
Oh, okay.
So we don't blend it to make you feel better. Like
No.
you go to a store, if you have different colored honeys with the same name on it, people don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the big companies blend their honey to keep it consistent so you don't worry about it.
Right.
Ours, the bees, 6 weeks life, the next set of bees may not work as hard as the other. It may have rained, so there's
Right.
more nectar liquids in the honey. They may have put more water, or they could have been a drought where they don't have enough water to put in. So it's it all varies. And
Wow,
that's
wow.
what for us. We just keep
Wow.
it as natural as it is, and
So
let it go.
did you have to take classes, education? What's your are you doing anything different to process your education? Because you have a lot of information. I'm wondering
Yeah,
where all that
it's-
come from. Is it just from being around and then picking it up, or did you have to do some
A little
schooling?
studying, just not in school. I'm not a good student at all. No college, didn't do any of that. So what my wife did, she bought Beekeepers Beekeepers for Dummies, brought that book home. I've looked through that. I've looked on stuff on YouTube and different people, and just talking with different beekeepers. But most of this is learned by doing for us.
Yeah, I
It's
can
been-
see. I can see it. I can see it, but your education and how you explaining things wouldn't say that. It's just
Yeah.
it's a
Well,
lot
thank
that
you.
you know, and information you're putting out. Every question I'm asking, you're giving detailed answers to. Plus, you're adding to that as far
Thanks.
as stuff for people, the layman person to understand, like myself. And I really do appreciate that. I think that is awesome to be able to have a farm like this and put it together, have all of this equipment, all of this, work that's going on, and you're learning on the job still.
Oh my gosh, the one beekeeper I know who's in his 70s, there's been a lot changing in the world with the climate, with plants, with animals that have, invasive animals that affect the bees, and he's even confused. And here he'll call me and ask questions. It's like, wow, you've been in business doing this for 40, 50, 60 years, and you're asking me things that I don't even know the answer because he's confused. And I get confused too when I find animals that have come into a hive that normally you'd never see. And no one has ever heard that. Why in the world are they doing that?
Right.
But it's
Constant education.
constant education, a lot of just talking and trial and error, and just the dream to keep the ranch is the main reason we did it. Originally to pay the taxes.
Right.
But when we tasted the sage and saw how it helped people, and the testimonials that people have told us about their allergies, about the skincare products we've made with our beeswax that have helped them with psoriasis, eczema, scars, keloids. My wife and I look at each other and just go,
I
wow.
hope it would help you. I have a big keloid right
Then I'll set you up. I'll set you
Oh,
up. You
geez.
try it. Yeah. I had a woman come up to me. She was in her 20s. Right in the middle of her chest here, she had this huge keloid. And I said, that's got to
what
be
mine
painful.
Yeah,
And she
it-
said it hurts.
Yeah.
So I gave her some of my skincare products. She applied it, and that's what she uses now. It softens it.
Right, and make it, because I've had it shot. I have done everything.
Oh,
it was just a round little pimple,
Yeah.
and every time they stick it, it
Oh,
got
yeah, it
wild.
got bigger.
Now they call it a bow tie.
Well, here again, no guarantees,
Yeah.
but we'll gladly give you some.
Okay.
We did some volunteer work years ago, and it stopped at COVID, right when COVID hit. A friend of ours introduced me to a veterans group in Alaska. So they would take guys out of Bethesda, Special Forces, and they would take them to Alaska, catch a can, and take them out on a float plane or out to an island and let the veterans decompress.
Wow.
And these guys who came out, I'm not military, no military background, so I was honored to go help them. But I knew mechanical equipment and repairs, electrical, so they said, come out and see if you can help us, which every person gets a nickname. And mine ended up being the original MacGyver. So I said, okay.
You know, not many people know about MacGyver, man. MacGyver,
and the
MacGyver
original
was my
MacGyver.
friend, man.
Exactly.
Duct tape was everything.
Yep. You know, and when you're 40 miles from the nearest hardware store, you got to make do with what you need to in Alaska.
Yes.
So, but we took our skincare products and our honey and gave them to the veterans, and they would use them. So sometimes even at the market, I'll tell people that it's good for bullet wounds. And because these guys used them on their bullet wounds, their burns, their amputations, they're just melted skin, and it was just very humbling to see their acceptance of our products. So yeah, it's
That's
special.
awesome. I mean, it's always awesome when you do something, and you know, and you're out there working, and you see what it does for
Other people.
You know how
it's worth
other
it.
people, it makes
100%
everything worth it, man. It just
100%.
it gives me chills in a way because it's something that we live for in a way to help others and be able to have people see us as, oh wow, you know, you made a change in someone's life. You know?
We had a woman come up to me, and she had her 10-year-old daughter with her, and her daughter was walking like this. Mm-hmm. And usually when they do that over at our cosmetic table, I go, oh no, what's on her face? What scar? What? And yes, and she's Hispanic, so her skin was just brown as ever. But when her mom had her lift up, it was a huge white blotch in her cheek. So the mom says she walks that way so people don't look at her. Well, if you walk like this, people are going to look at you.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? We aren't doctors, but here again, take our skincare products, go, no charge, just try it. So 2-3 weeks later, this young girl runs up to my table, says, remember me, remember me? And I go, no, sorry. But I looked past her and I saw the wife, the mom, and I said, oh, okay. And it was perfect. And she was a beaming 10, 11, 12-year-old girl, and the mom was crying. And she said, look at her skin. And we've had this happen over and over again. And I think, honestly, it's the healing property of honey and beeswax.
Right.
It's antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial. I mean, come on, how can you beat it?
Yeah.
So that's why we do it.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to have that being you know,
to see it like almost a testimony.
You know, a testimony by someone else, and
Very
that
moving.
gives you that makes you feel like, you know, this is why I'm doing it. Let me get back
Exactly.
and give my all,
Yep.
and you know, and hopefully I can help somebody else, because that one person has lifted me up.
It did.
You know?
100%. 100%.
I was going to ask you about, you know, is there anything out there that's destroying your beehive, like is it tigers, bears, lions, or something?
You know, luckily we don't have bears here. The last bear, I think, was 1906 up on the high ridges. It was a grizzly that was actually attacking, from what I heard, attacking beehives, and so they eliminated the bear. But no, what we usually have issues with would be the heat and pesticides.
Oh, okay.
We've
They
had
spray up here?
well, not up here, but if someone sprays down in the city,
Right,
and they can come back, and the bee lands on the landing board, the guards smell you and make sure that you're of their hive, and then they bring you in, and once they're in, then the worker bees clean them. And if they got poison on them, they clean the poison off, then it gets in the hive. But some of them are the bugs. We have black hive beetles that actually came from Africa. They're called African hive beetle. That can decimate a hive.
Oh, get in there, huh?
It gets in there, it eats the honey, and then poops in the frame, and then it ferments, and then the bees say, you know what, we are out of here. And then when the hive flies and leaves, because the hive's contaminated, that bug flies with them. So now that hive is spiraling downhill because they just can't recover.
Yeah, you can't catch up. You know, you can't
No.
cut it off at any
No. Now, if that hive had been in Africa, where you have the African bees, they would attack that little bug and drive it out. And you have high heat to kill it. Out here, it's perfect. You can't break the cycle of you know, egg to larva to little bug. You just can't break it. It's like paradise here.
Well, I appreciate it. Let's check out something else you have.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Okay.
You got
Avocados.
that big bag?
Yeah, that's what I was picking this morning. So avocados out of California used to be the best. Like I say, my uncle was one of the top citrus and avocado grafters. So as a kid, I would work with him, tie behind him, and we'd travel and do antiquing. And a lot of this ranch is in his memory because he was just so into earth and nature and natural. We also have our grapefruits. Now these are super small because they're into the season. Normally they're almost as big as a a volleyball. But these are Oro Blancos, which UCR, the University of Riverside, from what I understand, did a variant in the 50s, 60s, the white and the pomelo. And these are sugar sweet. So yeah, we'll get all these together and take them to the market tomorrow and just...
Where's your market at? Tell everybody.
Yeah,
where
it's
you're gonna
in
be.
the Corona Farmers Market at Main and 6th, kitty corner to the Corona Library. And we're there Saturdays only from about 7:30, 8 o'clock till 1. You can go on to, or Facebook for Bobcat Property Farm. You can see about our ranch. That's the only social media we do, is our Facebook page. And my sister manages that. I don't have a Facebook page. But we have bocatpropertiesfarm@gmail.com. And then there's a www.bobcatfarms.com also. Well, I really appreciate KF&J coming out and talking with me, the podcast guys. I really appreciate it. This was an awesome experience, and love to show you what we do and what we have off the ranch here in Corona. Just a little piece of my life, daily life.
Give them your name and everything.
Lonnie from Bobcat Property Farm, Corona, California.
Well, KF&JF podcast really do appreciate you giving us this experience today. It's so exciting, and I am happy that you took the time out of your day to bring us on.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.